Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can configure static routing to connect LAN 1, LAN 2 and LAN 3. So in this example, we will configure 2 static route on router 0, 2 static route on router 1 and 2 static route on router 2. Now let's start with router 0 first. So I'm in the CLI of router 0 and let's get into the configuration mode. For router 0, we need to set a static route from LAN 1 going to LAN 2, which is the one in the green color to the one in the yellow color. That's the first route. The second route would be from the green color to the blue color. So that is the second route. Now let's start with the first route. The command for static route is IP route followed by the destination network address. So for us to go from LAN 1 to LAN 2, from the topology we can see that the network address that we are trying to get to is 192.168.2.0. This is followed by the subnet mask of this network. Over here we have a /24 mask which will translate to 255.255.255.0. Now the last parameter here would be the next hop IP address. Let's take a look at how a packet goes from LAN 1 to LAN 2. For example, let's say PC0 is talking to PC2. Now let's take a close look at the cursor here. The packet will start from PC0, it goes to the switch, and then it goes to router 0. From router 0, it will go to switch number 3, and then it goes to router 1 in order for us to reach the LAN number 2. So over here, the next hop address would be given by this interface here, which is the interface that on the next router. So this is the first router, this is the second router. So this is the next hop router, and at the interface that is facing the first router. So this is the interface here. So again, the IP address is 200.1.1.2. That will give us the first route. Now for the second route, we are trying to get from LAN 1 to LAN 3. So again, the command would be IP route, and this time we are going to LAN 3 with the destination network address 192.168.3.0. Again, we have the same /24 mask here, which will translate to 255.255.255.0. Now let's take a look at what is the next hop IP address. From LAN 1 going to LAN 3, the packet will first go to router 0, and then it goes to switch 3, and finally arrive at router 2. That packet will try to get into the LAN number 3 through this interface here, which is the interface on router 2 that is facing router 0, this interface here. And we know that this interface is having an IP 200.1.1.3. That would be our next hop IP. So there you go, we have configured 2 static route on router 0. To check whether we have done this correctly, we can use the command show IP route. And this will show us the routing table on router 0. So from here we can tell that both of these routes that we have just configured earlier, one leading to 2.0, which is the LAN 2, and another one leading to 3.0, which is LAN number 3, has been registered on the routing table. Now we are going to configure router 1 Now we are going to configure 2 static routes on router 1. The first route would be going from LAN 2 to LAN 1, and route number 2 will go from LAN 2 to LAN 3. Let's start with the first route. Getting into the config mode, we use the command IP route to specify a static routing, and the next parameter would be the destination network address. From LAN 2 going to LAN 1, the destination network would be the network address of LAN 1, which is 192.168.1.0 with the mask of 255.255.255.0. Okay, now let's take a look at what is the next hop address. For the packet to go from LAN 2 to LAN 1, it will go to router 1, and then it will switch 3 and finally arrive at router 0. That packet is going to get into LAN number 1 through this interface here with the IP 200.1.1.1. So that is the next hop address for our first route. Now let's move on to route number 2. We are going to configure a static route from LAN 2 to LAN 3. So the destination network address for LAN number 3 is 192.168.3.0 with the mask 255.255.255.0. Now, what is the next hop IP here? For the packet to go from LAN 2 to LAN 3, it goes to switch 3 and finally arrive at router 2. That packet is trying to get into the LAN number 3 using this interface here with the IP 200.1.1.3. There you go. That is the two routes that we need to configure on router 1 for full network connectivity. Now let's take a look at whether we have configured the route properly. Show IP route, and this will show us the routing table of router 1. So here you go. This is the two static route that we have configured earlier. The first one is going to LAN number 1 and the second one is going to LAN number 3. Now we are going to configure the last two static route on router 2. So let's get into the config mode first, and we will start to configure route number 1. The first route will go from LAN 3 to LAN 1. So using the command IP route, we will specify the destination network address, which is in this case the network address of LAN 1. So we have 192.168.1.0 with the mask 255.255.255.0. Now what is the next hop IP? For us to go from LAN 3 to LAN 1, the packet will go to router 2, and then it goes to switch 3 and finally arrive at router 0. So this is our next hop IP address, which is 200.1.1.1. That is the first route on router 2. Now for the last route here, we need to configure one more static route from LAN 3 to LAN 2. IP route, the destination network that we are trying to get to, which is the LAN 2 network address, we have 192.168.2.0 with the same mask 255.255.255.0. How about the next hop IP address? For us to get from LAN 3 to LAN number 2, the packet will first go to router 2 to switch 3 and finally arrive at router 1. So this is the interface that the packet will use to get into LAN number 2 with the IP address 200.1.1.2. That is the next hop IP for this route. So there you go, we have finally configured all the routes that we need on all three routers for full connectivity. Before we go, let's check whether if we have get the route properly using the show IP route command. And yes, there you go, you have the first route, which is going from LAN 3 to LAN 1, and the second route, which is going from LAN 3 to LAN number 2. So in total, we have configured 6 static routes in all 3 routers for full network connectivity. Okay, now that all of our routes has been configured, let's try to do a connectivity test to see if all the routes are working properly. So in this example, I'm going to use PC0 to ping PC2 and PC5. Their IP address are as shown in the network topology. On PC0, I'm going to send an ICMP request to PC2 using the ping command. So we put in 192.168.2.1, which is the IP address of PC2 we are trying to ping. Well, in this case, we see that the ping request is successful, meaning that we have received the ICMP reply from PC2. This implies that all the route that we have configured in this network is currently working properly from LAN 1 to LAN 2. Now, let's try another ping test from PC0 to PC5. So we'll ping PC5 with 192.168.3.1. Well, again we see that the ping is successful, meaning that the static route that we have configured from LAN number 1 to LAN number 3 is currently working properly. So there you go. This is how we can configure static route to connect multiple LANs in a very large and complex topology when we have one or more routers in the networks.